You're on, Randy.
Okay, call this meeting to order. Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, approval of the minutes. Okay, it's emailed to you and you got a copy in front of you here.
Now, these are just from our January, not our
Yes,
last meeting, right?
yes. We have those in the process of being finished.
Okay, that's fine. I was reading, I thought, that's not what happened in the last meeting. I swear I remember. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's a January 25th meeting. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the
Okay,
January minutes.
I've got a motion. Need a second.
Second.
Got a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I'm gonna abstain. I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have a chance to read them in advance. I'm sorry.
They just got completely finished and sent you, there was some clarification.
Okay, that's probably why I didn't,
That's
okay, I'm like, I
exactly
don't
why,
remember
sir.
getting my email, so I'm still trying to read them fast, and I'm sorry, I apologize.
Okay. We can hold up a minute if you want to.
No, we'll go ahead. It passed. It's okay. It's not gonna hurt. I just,
Okay. Financials, approval.
And I'd like to say that, our insurance, our portion will go down a little bit because of Marcia's passing. That just hasn't hit this yet, but what we pay will go down.
For the insurance,
Mm-hmm.
is that the workman's comp and all that, or
Yeah, it would be the workman's comp and probably included, but the,
Umbrella.
insurance, I like 50/23. No, I'm sorry, it's not 50/23.
It is.
Yeah, it is insurance. You're talking about like
Health
health
insurance.
insurance, right?
Yes, the health insurance that goes to up and down.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the financials as
Okay,
presented.
we've got a motion. I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Are there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. Director report.
Afternoon, everybody. Hope we're getting through this weather okay. So with the last meeting we discussed whether I could, look out for grants and stuff. I'm in the process of doing that. Nothing has been finalized with anyone yet, what we can do. Our Branchville site is back and running and everything's good. We've been at, I think Tuesday, he had almost 100 people even on Tuesday. So that's good news. The porta potty is gone, the bathroom has been fixed. Jingle Ball went out and took care of it, so there will be a bill for next month with Jingle Ball. And then I just had to call him back out because the toilet sat so long that the innards of the toilet, the back tank, rest, I had to have them cut back out, so it'll be another bill for that. We'll see that. Other than that, everything's been going okay. I hired a different person for Hamilton, and they started this week.
so are you full staff?
We're back to full staff.
And Branchville's been open when it's supposed to be open.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I will say, on the day that it stormed really bad out there earlier in the week, or was that late last week or earlier this week, the storm,
Go.
he did leave early because the sirens have been going on. He did leave a little early because his children were coming home and didn't know, and so he only left a few hours early.
Was it? I'm a beginner. The opening at 9 and closing at 4:30 and kind of hard on working staffs to get there and then not open on Sunday either.
Right, we're talking about Branchville, right?
No, I'm talking about Hamilton.
Counting, okay. Yeah, that, you know, they open at 8 and usually 4:30, I think it's 4 on Saturday. That's the way the hours have been. They're usually open by 8. 9 o'clock is when Branchville opens, but it's 8 or 8:30 at Hamilton. I've talked to Leroy about maybe changing some days or doing something different. We don't know. It's not something that can't be looked at. Maybe one day during the week, staying open past 4:30.
Maybe till 6 or
Right.
something like that.
Right. But they, you know, that's been the operating hours for a while. And Sunday is maintenance and when they bail and stuff. So there are people there working. We're just not in public because of what all they're doing. And that's been a maintenance day for as long as I know. I think Saturday is a good 4 o'clock when they close is good. So maybe if we want to extend those hours, we could do it during the week.
They stay pretty busy on Saturday too, don't they?
Yes, ma'am.
Because they're closed on Sunday.
Mhm.
Has to be done on Saturday. If you're working, can't make
Yeah.
it during the week.
Sure.
We can look at that with it, maybe a Wednesday or something, or, you know, I don't know what day. It
Is it
doesn't really
because
matter.
just trying to keep the hours down?
Yeah, so I would,
Payroll.
right, so I can change some hours with some people and do that. It's not undoable.
Right.
You know, would it be maybe a Wednesday with a midweek? Maybe that would be a good day, you
We
know?
just have to get it out to the people to let them know.
Mhm.
And it will,
That's the main thing.
right, and put signs up
Mhm.
there, that absolutely. So is that something we wanna look at doing? Is keep people their same hours, the full-time and part-time, but just adjust and have, maybe I can rotate it one week, one person stays late, another person stays
Do
late.
you ever track the people coming in and out?
Yes, they do.
During time frames?
Yes, sir.
Because I think that's something we really need to look at. If you open at 8, nobody comes in till 9, then maybe we shouldn't be open until 9. That'll kind of help us make that
Yeah,
decision.
make the adjustment
know-
on that.
When the public, and I'm thinking Saturday's probably a busy day, makes sense. So, but other times of the week, you know, if no one's coming in or it's one person or something like this here, maybe cutting back in that area and then expanding into other times that's more suitable to. And if you just simply track it for a week or two, you'll get a feel for when the people actually are showing up.
Absolutely.
Now Branchville stays open from 9 to 4, correct?
On Tuesday and Thursday,
Tuesday,
9 to 5.
9 to 5.
And then Wednesday, noon to 5. And Saturday is 8 to 2.
So they're open 4 days a week then, right?
Mhm.
Okay. For the northern part of the county.
And that's around 30 hours a week for that
Yeah.
employee.
I'd rather have it like 7 to 3 and open Saturday and Sunday.
I don't know about being
I don't
open
think
on
Sunday would work
Sunday.
very
I mean, I'm not, it's well between church and everything, and I think
Mhm.
that would, and I don't know what that person's thing is they do on Sunday.
Time study now, how's it going? Very few come in around 8 because they're working.
We do have, because of the community out there, we are more busy at 8 AM than you would think, because there's a lot of retirees out in the county. When the hours were changed back on last year's election day, we changed them. I had done a survey and we had been there, and the survey lasted for over a month, asking them which days they would prefer to be later. Would they rather it be in the morning?
Employees or
Customers. And, or would they like it in the evening? More people said in the evening, so we went with noon to 5. The problem with staying open later then is it's dark.
In the
So,
latter part of the year.
yeah, and we do not have a bunch of lights, so yeah. So, I've talked to the employee now about maybe adjusting it. Maybe he would stay open a little longer because it's gonna be lighter out. That is something that, you know, we've talked about.
So since it's self-service, all we really have to do is just check to make sure that the bags of trash are tagged.
He runs the compactor.
Oh,
There's a compactor there.
one
Yeah.
person does the does
Mhm.
that?
They don't take a lot to run them compactors.
No.
They don't take a genius.
And he sells tags, so he has that responsibility there. Also,
Where,
Branchville.
oh, Branchville.
Branchville's the only site that sells tickets.
Right.
As of right now. So with the hours out there, looking at that, we did that. I know we're not gonna make everyone happy, definitely not. But the only way to increase is to increase the hours out there. That would mean the budget have to be looked at. With him being out there 30 hours,
I'm just selfishly looking at Cannleton, because that's where I and my constituents go
Mhm.
to drop stuff off. And I just know 9 to whatever is not applicable to most working people.
I don't know when those hours went into place. We can look at them. Part of that is that we have drivers that come in to go pick up and drop off and move cages, I call them, or picking up tubs and stuff. So that they need to be able to do that during normal business hours, because we go to the courthouse, we go to different businesses to pick up their recycling and pick up their office paper when they call. So with that being, if I start them too late, then I've got them working later. There's gonna be places they can't go. So that would just, it's not that it's undoable, it's just that's why mainly, I believe, they set it 8 to 4 or 4:30. But being open another one day later and maybe opening later and doing that is not something that can't be done. I think they tried to set it up to where it was workable for everyone, because some people only work till 3:30. And I know, but then they were open Saturday and they're open a longer time Saturday. The reason I shortened the hours at Branchville on Saturday is because no one came in after 1 o'clock. It was, maybe a few people, then you have the people that always run in at the last minute. You have people that no matter what time you close, they're there 10 minutes early. So those people, you can't as much put them into consideration because they're always going to be like that. But we were not busy, so when we were open till 4 o'clock on Saturday, it was dead time. And me being out there working so much, you saw that there was no sense in it. That's why we moved some of the hours to have them on Wednesday. So if we go to changing hours at Cannleton to later hours, at least 1 day a week, we'll just have to see if I can just have someone come late, or do we need to open late? But we have trucks that show up for pickup, sometimes at 10 o'clock in the morning, and to get that ready and to be there and have that ready, they have to be there ahead of time. They can't just come in at 9 o'clock and have a truck semi-ready and be ready to load it at, come in at 9, start at 9, you got it, the semi there at 10 o'clock, because they're sometimes early.
It's possible maybe they would take advantage of early or later one day. I don't know, take a while to get used to that.
We can do that, we can track it, I'll track the hours in the days.
We track it for a month and see what happens.
Okay.
Wednesdays would probably work the best because a lot of the sporting events doesn't happen on Wednesday, so maybe they have a little more of a freer time. I know we got religion sometimes, but
If you-
No problem. I think that's kind of it. I don't want to go ahead of myself and do new business and old business. So
okay, anything else with director report? Any questions before we move to old business?
Good report.
Okay. Old business.
old business is the Boy Scout troop. I had mentioned it before. They, their leader sent me, and I gave you guys. He gave me more of his itinerary. I'm going to be getting them some old t-shirts and stuff that we have from past river sweeps and taking them to them that morning. And on the second page is more of, they put where they're going to exactly be getting the garbage. And they've already estimated how much it's going to be. I will be providing them with bags, 100 black bags at least, gloves, and other supplies that they have that. And I will be out there with them under new business, you'll see that the drug take back is now on the same day, April 20th. So I'll go between the two places. But the troop is out of Ohio and they follow the river down and where it came and they want to come do it.
Well, that's
Okay,
good.
we'll have to kind of watch the height of the river for them.
So,
Might be a pretty muddy mess, but if it drops,
It started dropping today,
I've seen that. Yeah.
not much, but, on that drug take back, that is at the firehouse.
yes, ma'am.
Hill City?
Yes, and it's going to be, 10 to 1. I have contacted Chief Llewellyn and Chief Linney, which usually the reserve police officers are at the, police station with us, which would be Mr. Alexander and a couple other reserves in their process. So he says he will get that information to him, and Mr. Linney says we are free to use the, fire station.
Do you have any flyers or anything on that
I'm
yet?
going to get them and put them up. I will email your.
Email me
office.
one and we'll get it on our city's Facebook page and I'll share it wherever I
Absolutely.
can. And yeah, it's been very successful.
Yeah, I just got confirmation today that we could use that and that we would have the police and everything. So, I will do the flyer and get it to you and then we'll put it up. And I will still go back to the doctor's offices and send emails and call to see if there's anything they want to. I think that kind of helps.
Yeah.
Do
So
they do this once a year or twice a year?
twice, the spring
That's what I'm
and the
saying.
fall.
Randy,
Yes.
I just got a message, they can't hear you. People watching it, they can't hear.
I have to turn on the auto caption.
Okay.
It's not crossed off, so I wouldn't have thought there was a
It's
problem.
on. It mutes it, so.
Yeah, that means that, volumes are, look like it's up.
So April, the 420 is the,
April 20th.
okay.
Text that person back, tell them everything's supposed to be working on the screen, so.
Working here.
It's working,
Okay,
it's working now.
okay.
Goodness.
I know somebody had called, or texted the other night and said that they couldn't hear, but everybody else could, so it was on their end, on that phone or whatever.
Could have been down, happens.
And I'm sorry, I did not think we just got another payment for Quincy. And per ton of cardboard now is 145. So we are coming back.
There you go.
There you go.
Now it's time to sell.
Yeah, right. And so, and that was for a load that we sent out in March. So we should be getting ready for one. So that helps. Because our loads are generally around 40 tons, 40,000 pounds, I should say.
Chris, when they pick up, when the truck comes to Branchville,
I'm sorry, Hamilton.
Hmm?
Hamilton. No truck. When they pick up, they don't pick up. I thought you were talking about the cardboard being.
no, I'm talking about the trash.
Okay.
When they come to Branchville and they switch out the containers,
Mhm.
are those containers full?
A lot of times they are full, sometimes they're not as full on the average with what they come in and how we did it before when the gauge was working. I have reached out again, trying to get a hold of Waste Management to have someone come out because that is theirs.
Mm-hmm.
I would say yes, and maybe not 100% full and crammed, but yes, according to what comes in on the bills, what they pick up.
Yep, see, what concerns me on that end is if that compressor's not working in there, and they get, well, the gauge ain't working, you don't know if the compressor's working or not. So you might be paying for half a load, be paying for a full load, and they're getting a half a load.
Right, they send it, when they send what the weight is. And I would say the weight is consistent with the full load. And they charge accordingly to what the weight is. So sometimes it's more than a certain amount.
They charge by the weight, not the size.
Not the load.
Yeah, they pick up and there's a fee for that. And that was partly because when you would order them before, the process to order them and having to sit on the phone and do that, they wouldn't always get it.
Mhm.
And we were having problems with it being picked up on the day it was supposed to be picked up, and then the gauge being a problem. So there was multiple issues with it. So when the option came, we can come weekly and get it, I said, yes. I still want the equipment fixed.
Yeah, it's their
And that's when I
equipment.
originally
We're
put in-
using it, and it needs to
right.
be fixed.
And that's when I originally put in that request for that.
Mhm.
It's fallen on deaf ears. But
I think that's critical, because if you have a week that you've got bad weather and people don't show up, and
Right,
you've got them scheduled to come pick up the dumpster, you're not gonna have the volume, and you should be able, under the pressure gauge, when you start to see it start to build,
right.
you should be able to estimate that it's getting nearly full, so pick it up in 2 days. But the gauge has to work,
right,
and they've got to realize that, and those guys charge for showing up and hauling, and then they charge for tonnage.
right.
So if it's half full, we're still paying the full rate to pick it up, haul it, and then only paying for the tonnage. So it can get costly to us, and it's their equipment. I think it needs to be stressed with them
I
to get it fixed.
absolutely.
Or unless they want to charge us less for hauling, we could base our hauling on a half a load. If we want them to pay half a load for the transport, and I don't think they'll go for that.
And maybe I was not clear enough. I do cancel it. Like when we've been closed during the bad weather and those things, I did cancel it.
Mhm.
You know, and if we're not that busy, we can adjust that and throw it off, and they can go back to Thursday. We can have them change it. I have done that. That is something that I do. I just, I guess I felt it was common sense that I would do that, so I didn't feel like I had to.
Are they the only ones
Explain
that do this?
Are they what?
The only company?
It's Waste Management.
Are they the only ones that
That-
do this?
One waste is, my parents have a dumpster, and I don't know how this works, but maybe one waste might be an option to look at I would just price it every other year, see. Sometimes when you shop around, you find out the other person's got a better deal for you than what they originally told you. Not that I'm saying they
No,
don't,
we
but
can do that, and I have to
been
make sure
very-
that they can hook
very
up
good.
to
A lot
our
of those, like
compact.
One Waste, they want a 5-year contract,
okay. Yeah, I didn't ask my
especially on
parents
these
how
little
long.
dumpsters, and that's how they get you, and they don't call you and tell you that your contract's about up, and if you don't contact them, who would? Who
So it's
keeps
like
track of
Sirius
that?
Radio.
And
Your
then they
prices.
turn around, my dumpster went from $91 a month to $268 a month. I was down there. I told that woman, I said, get your dumpster. I'm
That's,
not paying that for it.
that's what's happened to a lot of people out in the county. That's why,
Mhm.
and
Right.
there were 2 people that came in, different families that live east of Branchville, that said that who they had will not come out there anymore.
Yeah.
So they're having to now start to use our facility, and they wanted information and everything because they said they were out of the path now
Yeah.
after.
I got the excuse that, well, we only have 2 in your area, and we only have this. I don't care how many you got, I still pay you.
Right.
Well, you're talking equipment, our foreman in the street department, Dan Kessens. He told me some things about the trailer. I think maybe some of the lights weren't working on, or there's some issues with it that they felt they could fix in-house, and I don't want to say it's our guys' fault, but in ways, they should have reported to you all when they felt that when they get it, there's any conditions, they haven't been doing that. They just kind of check everything's good.
Yeah.
So it's not your fault, I don't know whose fault it really is necessarily, but they said they would be willing to fix these things if you guys would just pay for like a wiring harness or whatever it needs. So I told them to get a price together of things that needed, and I would bring, they don't have it yet, but when they do, I'll bring it at our next meeting. You guys want our guys to fix it, at our dime, but just material wise, we could if you want.
He reached out, the foreman had called and told me that there was some garbage coming out the door, so we did, that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
The
right.
week prior. And we looked at, or I didn't, we were looked at it, we could not figure out, why it was happening, because nothing had been touched since the last time, because you guys, Tell City
Yeah, sure.
is the ones that use that. We do not use that equipment at all.
Right.
And so we looked at it. We thought that would be okay. It happened again the next week or next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For the recycling. the next day, Mr. Cousins came in, I did give approval. I
Okay,
said that was fine to go ahead and fix what the issues, because they saw what it was. The door not closing properly is one of them.
Right.
I didn't know about the lights.
I think it was a light, but there was a minor things.
Yeah, and I said to
Just
invoice
general
and we
maintenance.
would pay for the material, because that's
Okay.
what the thing was. We will pay for the material, or if you'll pay for the material, we'll do it. We can do it in-house here. I said, if you're willing to do it and you know that's perfectly
I think
fine,
it's a small
we will
cost.
pay for the parts. I said, just give me an invoice and send it to the
Okay,
office.
good.
But whether you have it or,
No, I don't have it yet. He hadn't got to me, but he's already communicated with you, so that's good.
Yes.
And I did have some residents, I don't know if they're outside the city, but I think they've had concern of cardboard blowing out of our trucks when taking. So we've gotten like this bungee cord net looking thing to help contain that. So when driving, cardboard won't fly out on the highways going through Cannleton or up.
Yeah.
So we've addressed that. So hopefully that fixes so if anybody calls you, complaints, we're trying to fix that. I
and
think
you
that's
don't know that it happens until it happens. You know, you don't.
I get it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so when he said that, he said there was garbage that flew out the first phone call, and I said, okay, then, so it was, did anyone mess with this equipment in
Yeah.
between and different things? We couldn't find a problem, but no, we don't want that either, so that's why,
No, that's our,
absolutely,
that's our goal, to keep trash off the roads, not put it back on,
Right.
like blowing out, but
yeah.
I think it's been addressed at this point, so let's hope that
Yeah.
fixes it. If not, we'll try something else.
And it was earlier this week that I said, go ahead.
Okay, good. I hadn't talked to him this week yet. It was a couple weeks ago, I think. So, good.
Yes, sir.
Back on the gauge, put a little bit more pressure on waste management and, tell them you brought it in front of the board and they requested that be fixed.
No,
And,
you need
once
to
it's fixed-
require it be fixed,
Yeah.
not request, require that it be fixed.
And, once it's fixed, do a little training with the employee out there to watch it and,
Yeah, and because it usually only takes 24 hours to get if you call in like by 3:00, you can get it the next day.
Yeah.
They have to put on the schedule.
what I meant, watch how the gauge and how
Yeah.
make sure it's full when it is full, so.
I mean, a pressure gauge is not that hard to replace.
And it's not moving at all anymore. The last time I
No,
was
see,
out
that's
there,
what I'm
it's
saying,
just
it's
sitting there
not
and it
that hard
used
to
to.
replace, and they should take care of their own equipment.
And a lot of times they're out there without anyone being there. They're there before anyone gets there. You know, I get an email that they did it to confirm they did it, but there's no one there at the time to talk to them. So we'll get that straightened out.
Okay, are there any other old business? I think the last meeting, I think I'll bring up, we looking for an attorney. Have we had any question or any,
No, I
Feedback?
verbally talked to a couple, but I'm going to finalize the letter and send it out. I don't have much good news on that, unfortunately. And I know we're staying local and then maybe out to Spencer County. We talked about that, and surrounding counties, but no. Unfortunately. Hopefully, we have our next meeting in 2 weeks. I've got better news.
okay, we're down to new business. Else anybody got any old business? New business? We done talked about the take back. We're going to take back.
Unfortunately, I have to bring up the fact of our billing. No money coming in is not a good thing. So I don't know where we stand with everything. I've been telling residents that I would know hopefully today, but for sure in 2 weeks, the 25th. So if nothing is decided and everything today, I have to, because they will call back. And I would like to put something in the paper to let people know, because, you know, I've got people that are worried whether they'll be sued because they're late, and that's not gonna be the case. But, you know, I'm at a loss because I don't wanna do anything that's wrong. I don't want us to start a problem or a war between us. I wanna be able to do this and keep this going.
probably need to open this up for a discussion. I know 2 meetings ago, I think Chris, the mayor, brought up a motion that we would dissolve it and the county would, if I remember right, take control of it.
They would, yeah, or merge with the
Yeah.
neighboring ones.
Yeah, that's
I don't
what your,
have
I
that
believe
verbiage
that's what your motion was, yeah.
Yeah. Something like that.
I've got here what it takes to dissolve it from the attorney.
Okay,
And I have reached out and spoke to Spencer County. They are not interested in taking over. They said they would take like our cardboard, but we'd have to get it to them and or our plastic, but they have no interest.
and correct me if I'm wrong, the other 2 commissioners, I think in a meeting late last year that was approved in a commissioner meeting to use some of the edit funds for solid waste. So we would have a little funding there if we would look at that, so I think we need to discuss it. If we don't get an answer today, we'll look at it in 2 weeks again, so. And, I guess, Becky, the process is if the county takes over, they have to go through the commissioners first before, and the council.
I'll just let you read this. This is what it would take to dissolve it.
I read that on the email from Andrew.
So you read that?
Can I get a copy that I didn't?
Yeah, you wanna look at it right now?
And
Your attorney should be able to give it to, find it for you.
I can make copies too for you.
Okay, right on, thank you. You guys, I'm just gonna read these, make me country here.
It's nobody's intention here is to, when we say dissolve solid waste, it's not getting rid of solid waste.
No,
Correct.
it's not shutting
No
it down.
way about,
We
I don't
can't.
want that to get out in a different, well, they're gonna do away with solid waste. No, we're not. It will operate if we would decide to take that challenge and go down that road, so.
And I agree with you, that's my intention, said it would.
Yes, it has to be.
I don't wanna see the highways and the old back roads and
Yeah.
got roads full of trash. And even in the cities, in the towns.
I agree.
I mean, we just looking at it, over the last 12 years as I've been commissioner, I've probably had more complaints on the fee of solid waste than I have on anything else.
Mhm.
If we can find a way to build it into a tax roll or something for the whole county, because the whole county pays taxes, one way or the other, it would probably be the best way. But I don't have that answer. I don't know if anybody here does, but that's something we'd have to look at. And we do have some funds that got approved last year with the edit funds. That would be up to the council and the commissioners to look at other options too, so.
Can I, and I may be totally off to say this, but could ARP funds be used? I don't know what else left. I know you had a meeting yesterday and I watched part of it and something came up and I couldn't finish, but could some of that be used as a gap filler or something? I mean, I know that's up to the commissioners and the council. And I'm just throwing it out there as an option. Does not say it's what you should do or shouldn't, but has that been even thought of or? I mean,
You're talking about the county edit funds, not the city
No,
edit
it's not about
funds.
ARP.
Oh, ARP.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We
So
were,
you got ARP funds too, right?
we were warned not to use ARP funds for anything. It's a reoccurring expense.
Right.
Because it's a one and done type deal. So if we do something, we still have to be prepared to make it sustainable. So it's,
I just brought that up.
Baker Tilly stressed that with us numerous times, and our state legislature also told us, don't do that,
Fair enough.
because it'll come back to bite you.
Mhm.
So,
Is there a way to maybe pay this year for people and then next year, start now working on getting it on the bill as an item, or a line item. Just the flat rate, not being assessed by property value or anything to
No,
do with the property.
that assessment of property is no good.
Correct.
I do not want to see people's taxes raised. I'll never vote for it. Never.
I think that was one of the reasons it didn't put into place years ago,
Mhm.
is for that same reasons, and I'm with you there on
I mean,
that one
taxes
too.
just went up high enough. I'm sure everybody got their tax bills.
Can I make a statement, please?
Yes, please, Chris.
I'm wearing two hats here this evening.
Please come over here a little closer. We'll get you on the
Oh, boy.
speaker and the camera if you'll.
You can,
As a county resident and Perry County Farm Bureau Incorporated president, I'm afraid if you put on assessed value, you know, in 23, we've seen our assessed value go up 17%. 24, we've seen our assessed value go up another 27%. 25, we're projected to go up another 20%. And the way ag land state formula is projected, we're going to continue seeing an increase till 2029 in assessed value. So if you got it on a percentage of assessed value, your solid waste bill is going to completely increase for the next 4 or 5 years, which will be good for income for you guys. But
well,
as far as the ag world, we're seeing a huge increase in taxes right now. And I hate to see more tax put on the assessed value.
I think,
And then you put it on a tax bill as a static fund. We got nonprofit that has been paying a solid waste bill that does not get a tax bill. How are you gonna charge them at the same time also? So
Very good point, Chris.
that's just
I mean,
my 2 states I had on.
But you got hotels paying one for every room it's a mess.
It is a
I'll be
mess.
honest, it's a double-edged sword in a lot of ways.
It's something that needs to be straightened out. That should have been straightened out at the beginning
Amen.
of all this, and it wasn't.
I know you guys are looking at assessed value for some corporations, but you're also gonna hit the ag as a corporation too.
I don't.
Yeah. I hate
That's
to see it
a,
done that way too.
I'm in the ag, so I'm
I
not
don't know
there
that
with you.
anyone really wants to do it that way, because that,
No.
it was,
Yeah.
when I started, it was suggested at a flat rate of 45 as a line item.
But still, if you put it as a line item, there's gonna be some missed holes that don't get a tax bill
Mhm.
Yeah.
also, so.
Absolutely. It's not I'm not saying that that's the way I want to do it. I just,
Thank you, Chris.
thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Can I say something too?
Yes,
Step up here.
come on up.
I'm Donna, and I'm the.
Hold on.
Director
Oh,
for
Donna.
the
Please get up.
Authority of the city of Tell City. And, we are charged per apartment and we have 190. So we pay approximately $9,000 a year. So,
Currently, and you are operating as a nonprofit, correct?
yes.
And so you don't get a property tax bill.
No, but we do.
You get
pay
an
pilot.
individual
We pay pilot to the city.
pilot.
Payment in lieu of tax.
Payment in lieu of taxes.
Oh, that's the same as like the electric department does.
Yes.
They don't get a property tax.
And water and.
So who determines the pilot?
It's a formula I don't have in front of me.
Our pilot is calculated based off of rental income minus our utility expenses.
So what's that number amount to on 200
We
units?
pay about $42,000 a year on pilot.
42,000. And that's just directly to the city of Tell City.
Yes. But my complaint is per apartment that we are charged for. I mean, the Twilight Towers, we do the recycling, but the family units at Erie Homes and Springfield Terrace, we do not do any of that. So,
Yeah, the cardboard. We talked about the cardboard a while back. They don't, that just all goes into the back of the compactor. I didn't know, we talked about that. I never really followed up on that. So.
So just a question, I know Tell City has bag tags. So do you have to take your cardboard and put it in a plastic bag and then put a tag on it to get it picked up? Or how do
Yes.
So you're paying,
We don't,
Two different
we
ways.
do not, no, we have trash compactor, trash
Rooms.
dumpsters. The city picks up the trash, but they do not pick up the cardboard unless it's bagged. But we pay a set trash fee to the city as well.
It's a bulk trash rate.
So in other words, they don't pay a per bag fee, they pay per dumpster or
Per,
certain
like,
volume or
A
whatever.
certain volume, like 25 bags is this price estimated at, it's a bulk trash rate that we have. Like some of the banks have it, they've got it. There's,
I mean, do you offer something like that to the motels too?
they would be, yeah, but they all have actual commercial dumpsters. I
Or
mean,
they
would-
just provide through?
Yeah, they'd ask, but I'm definitely sure they would probably do it. I mean, it's
Do
more
they
revenue
still,
for us.
do they still pay a waste fee on their utility bill, even though they have their own, like a motel?
I don't know.
I'm thinking they do. So they
I
actually
I
have a
don't see their
commercial
bills.
contractor that picks up their trash, but then I think they also have a sanitary fee put on their utility
might.
bill also.
That's my 2 cents, so thank you.
Maybe.
thank you,
She's
Donna.
correct in what she says. They do pay that much. Then that is true. Whether they're rented or not.
I think all of us here, and minus Smokey, need to really think hard on this for the next 2 weeks so we can throw some ideas around at our next meeting at what and how we want to do this.
Well, you need to have a vision on what services you
Yeah.
intend to provide.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We need to have something.
And in order to make a rational decision, we need to know volumes and costs associated. I looked at, I was in Derby and I took a look at the containers out there. They're not monitored, so you get a lot of other things thrown in them. And that then takes it to Cannleton and requires man hours to sort it. And if it's plastic, you're losing. I guarantee you, because I've read several articles where other districts, if it's what they call contaminated, in other words, mixed plastic, they crush it, send it to the landfill. They cannot afford to sort it
Yeah, and
because
that's
plastics don't pay anything.
That cost.
And that's one of our challenges too, is having a facility like that. Are we gonna continue? Are we gonna need to monitor it? These are things that have to be discussed and considered.
I wish there were more ways of automation with this, to cut down on cost, but the cost for automation is a lot too.
Well, you don't have the volume. You're a small rural
I know.
county.
I know.
It's just the way it is.
That's that double-edged sword.
Ours, when we get paid for our plastic, we're paid and we're done. It's what they do with it. And we have to manually sort things when they're doing plastic and cardboard, because it does get combined at times. You have people that are just not thinking, and you have people that are doing it to just do it, and people want to be vicious.
And some don't even know.
Right.
That's.
Right, so I feel like, do we have to continue taking plastic? I think it's good for the environment, and if we're going to get money for it and it's better than it being around. But I also know that some of the things they use, we can go back to the schools and donate to them to do projects with plastic.
I mean, it's
So
just
there's
having a
different things that
plan.
can be done.
Mary Kay wants to say something. If you'd come up, please.
Come on up here, Mary Kay.
She's always got something.
This is my opinion,
One minute till you get up here so we can.
and I think before anybody is canceled out of paying for solid waste, I think it should be looked into and ironed out before you go giving so many that it's not gonna pay. I mean, get this all straightened out. I mean, it's just ridiculous, in my opinion. I mean, the motel's paying for every room, the high-rise paying all that for every apartment.
Yeah, the nursing homes don't pay per room.
No, the nursing homes don't
It's
pay.
a lot of
I
imbalance.
mean, I think it needs to be,
You're paying the same as Wapaka's paying.
Wapaka, Walmart. I mean, I think the committee or whatever should sit down and get it all straightened out before they go taking edit money, which is for infrastructure, and I don't think solid waste is infrastructure. And I mean, it just don't make sense. I think you should get it straightened out this year, and then whatever you come up with, your billing and all that, then change it next year.
So what you're saying, Mary Kay, is to go ahead and bill the people the $45, get us through the end of the year.
Yeah.
Work on it for next March.
And then get it worked on this year for next year and make a decision of how you're gonna bill people and all that. I mean, this doesn't make sense.
And there's things that have happened along the way that they've made decisions on, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that do not pertain to now. So it's like trying to figure out why things were done sometimes is.
Yeah, when was this,
Very confusing.
right, when was this actually started?
Well, like
1994.
94,
Okay, a lot's
97.
changed since 94.
When the reason that the motels got charged was they were discussing the cabins that people owned. So that's how that change came. I wasn't here, I don't
I
think
wasn't
really,
here for that either. None of us in this
yeah,
room.
We've got cabins, we've got motels, we've got all this,
Hospital, they don't pay for rooms.
well, yeah,
Right. And that
hospital
did not
and
make sense
everything.
to me. When I started, I can tell you, it was very confusing, and when it doesn't make sense to me, I have a problem with that, because it's not logical.
And then who says someone don't have to pay it and do, like, if it's like a vacant warehouse, you don't get a bill?
Right.
And who has that authority to say, no, no bill for you, just throw it away and you're, well, pay it? I mean,
Yeah.
You
who
also
gets that
have to
authority?
have
That's scary.
You also have to have a plan, so say, of where everything is.
Yeah.
Everything in the county,
Yeah,
every home in the county, every business in the
Yeah.
county, small, large, industry, what have you.
I think,
You
and
have to get that tracked.
I know when we had our advisory committee, I think Charlie, if he was on the board of the committee, I don't remember. He had come up with
Okay.
a tier scale
Yes.
from residential's, commercial, and industrial. And it actually lowered the residences. I don't remember the number. It was maybe $25.
I was gonna say it was 20 something.
And like an industry or commercial would pay, maybe 45, 50, 75, 100. I don't remember those numbers. But do you know who has a copy of that, or I can reach out to Charlie? I mean,
Shouldn't there be some kind of minutes or?
I don't know if it was brought up I don't
Yeah, it
remember.
wasn't brought up really in a meeting that
Yeah.
detailed. He came in and discussed it.
It's a thought, and
when he was
I think
on the board.
reducing it for residents would be fantastic. I think they would be over the moon if they see it almost cut in half.
And I don't think that an industry should pay the same as some other house or a mom and pop shop on Tilt Street.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'll speak to Firehouse Printing, we're commercial, we very much use this service with the copy paper.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a huge win for us, because, it saves us money on trash, it saves the environment,
Right.
I would be glad for us to pay more, and it's speaking from my business, no one else's,
Right.
but we use it a lot, and we thank you guys for picking it up and helping us, it's great.
It's like you want to do it, but you find out that there were decisions that were made prior about how to bill people or bill a business, and you don't understand it. I can't defend it and say that this is right on things I don't think are right. And I do believe it needs to be revamped. I do not feel that industry should pay the same as a mom and pop. And if the hotels are paying, then why aren't the nursing homes or the hospitals?
Right.
That just does not make sense to
And it
me.
might have been an oversight when they made the discussion, and I would definitely say that, but, I also look at the structure of this board. That's why if we would be dissolved the accounting thing, they could restructure the board. I think this board structure comes from the state statute.
Yes.
I might be wrong, but I think that's the case. There's no representation of the town of Troy. And I hate that for Troy, because, they are a town, they're not just an unincorporated area of the county. They have no really representation of an elected official from their community. Or that would give the commission opportunity to appoint others,
It's, 2 mayors from the largest cities in the county that are automatically on the board. Then it's commissioners and council.
Yeah, and I kind of like Troy to have a little representation. I mean, it's a good community too, and
Absolutely.
they do a lot of recycle. I think, do they have curbside down there?
They pick up on certain
Okay.
days.
Yeah, so I mean, they help us too by bringing us stuff and getting us materials.
Absolutely.
And then you go on Leopold, about Leopold.
Well, they're not a town.
Well, we got that northern end of the county.
Well, that's the commissioners and county council would represent them, is what I'm saying. Troy's it's its own, they're a town, they're part of like AIM, Indiana Municipal, towns and cities, and that's kind of what I'm coming out with that, but. Just a thought, this is good discussion. I'm glad to see everybody calm about it. And
Well, I
Healthy.
don't know if they've changed the requirements. That's just always been the requirements of them, and that's what we've gone with, because we
Yeah, I
don't have
haven't
anything
looked at it
updated and stuff, but
I just know what I read in '94 when it was being formed in the newspaper articles that I had. That's kind of where I
Yeah.
get that from.
and you can't argue with the state statute, but, I guess if you had a councilman that was from Troy,
Yeah,
that
or
would
their
be,
clerk
they'd be
treasurer or
more
someone,
represented.
or they could appoint a citizen, maybe, would be
Yeah.
kind of nice.
If you look at it, all three commissioners represents the whole county, even Dusty and Troy also,
True,
That's a-
and I look at it that way. There's a lot to consider. It really is.
Well, and we can, they can reach out and talk to us and see what they need and things like that. I mean, the phone rings and the emails work, so if they have a problem or an issue, I wish they would call. When people call, I generally do ask them where they live, so I have an idea of who's calling,
Sure.
and I can say we don't get many calls from residents in Troy. They're
And
pretty
Troy's
quiet.
not said anything to me about it. It's
Yeah.
just, I think about Troy a little bit too, and because they are a town, and they
Right.
are incorporated, so.
Right.
So
we
do we
can-
need to develop a committee then, to study this?
Well,
Well, I don't know if we got that much time.
That's,
I don't wanna get the cart too far before the horse, if you're gonna have a committee, I think we need to have an attorney to be part of that committee. So I think we kind of lack that little, maybe a big part actually of the committee, that whoever he or she is, our attorney, would probably be beneficial to have them on there to draft up any ordinances that need to be presented to, or whatever.
Yeah, make sure it's all legal, whatever we decide.
I think you're gonna have to decide what your intention is to provide. I mean, if you wanna continue as is, take every waste stream as is, take glass bottles if that's it. If you're gonna do that, then you're gonna have to have additional funding in order to subsidize this, because the recyclables won't pay for the cost of handling them. So if that's the mission you're gonna follow, then you've gotta know that. You're gonna come back and say, we're gonna run and we'll take the recyclables. Some of them are mandated, my understanding, by the state of Indiana that you take them.
Mhm.
Others are not. So you actually, I think glass is one. I remember talking to the Spencer County people, it's very hard to get rid of, and
Yeah.
some communities will not even take glass simply because you can't get rid of it, it's too costly. So you have to decide, are you going to be the charitable group and take glass? And if so, then the community's gonna have to subsidize that. Or are we gonna say the glass is not profitable, very costly, it needs to be moved to the landfill as regular waste? And those are the decisions you're gonna have to make. The only way you can make those decisions is understanding your waste stream. So simple as it can be, we can all wanna do things and it'd be great to take it all, but there's a cost associated with that. You have to recognize it.
Do we need to, or do we wanna hire some type of a professional service to help us with this, or is that a waste of
I
money? or-
think that whatever we're taking in waste streams, Chris should be able to tell us, she brings in X number of pounds, tons, whatever. She has to take them to kennel, takes them 4 hours, 3 men, 2 men, whatever sort, get this here, and I get X number of dollars out of it. That'll tell us if that waste stream,
Right,
what it's costing us.
Fair
Do we
enough.
want to continue to do that waste stream? It costs us X number of dollars, or we make a whole big sack full of money, one or the other. But just breaking the waste streams down in that sort of a fashion will tell us, then you have to make that decision. What do you want to provide?
And the consequences of not providing it.
If you don't provide, some things are mandated, you have to take by state statute. Other things are, Depending, and I use glass as an example. If we bring in, let's say we bring in 100 tons of glass, and to take it to the waste landfill, maybe $40 a ton. Okay, so now we're looking at $4,000. If it costs us $20,000 to process it, do we want to subsidize it to the tune of $16,000 of taxpayers' money? That's the decision you make. So until you get your numbers, you're speculating on anything you're doing.
No, they
Chris,
don't.
do we get a whole lot of glass? I mean, in the stores, mayonnaise and so forth used to be, there used to be a lot of glass, but most of it's plastic now.
Got more plastic than that.
But plastic is another one. I know Spencer County only takes like 2 styles of plastic.
And that's-
the rest of it, they don't.
Number
Because-
one, number twos.
And
And that's because their processing, I've spoke to them, and what they can do, they can only do that.
Yeah.
We are able to process more and do a wider range.
see, and I noticed out, it appeared to me like there's vessels of different plastic material that had oil, cooking oil in them out of Derby. And I'm not sure, is that stuff even recyclable contaminated with
No, I
oil?
didn't know that they had, that might be coming from,
Well, I don't know where it
Yeah.
comes from, but I saw it in the trailers.
yeah,
So again, then, if we take that plastic in and we have to pay to dispose of it, that's no different than someone that brings a bag of trash and doesn't put a tag on it out of Branchville and says, you're paying for that too. So those are the things that you have to, that's when you have an unmonitored site. And I'm not saying that people even realize that it's something that can't be recycled. And that's an educational curve that we have to do also. So there's more to just, this we need numbers here to make a rational decision.
Okay.
And then the decision is, what do we want to provide? And
I personally, newspaper just seems, it's good, but it takes a long time to get a full load. That would be something at top of my list that would be like, but, magazines and those things, we donate them to, like Tell City Arts has called and said, do you have magazines? Can we come and look at them? Absolutely, you can. And we donated those things, and we would donate to anybody. I donated,
The newspapers,
recently
the shelters
plastic
need them,
bags. Well,
right?
Well, see,
Yeah,
and
take over the next
the
one.
next thing you get into that, there may be certain specific products that are recyclable that someone will just take.
Right.
So you don't have to
Absolutely.
process it.
Right.
Well, it's
And-
like
and-
your paint and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
And we have
So
our
the-
program for the
So-
paint that's there.
Yeah.
That's why you have to look at your waste stream once again to
Mhm.
determine if you have a source. I know some of the electronics in larger cities, you'll go to a Best Buy and they'll just take them.
Yeah, good.
So there's
I
no
think
cost
like,
associated with them. So do we have that way to handle some of these products?
Right.
And then we don't have to put the man hours involved with it. We still can get it out of the waste stream, but it doesn't have the same cost.
And O'Reilly's will take old motor oil.
And
Yeah.
batteries.
Do you take batteries? Okay. And it is
Sure.
motor oil, because I've taken some up there, but your newspapers, as you get it, I know Molly was asking on Facebook about, newspapers for the animal shelter, for the
Oh, I
dogs
didn't
and stuff.
see that.
I mean, it's next door, if a cart and a dolly would
Yeah, I
bring it
would.
right over, I'm sure Molly'd be thrilled to get it.
I'll-
And it's
I'll-
recycled, using it and,
I didn't see that.
Yeah, reach
When I
out
saw
there.
the plastic needing it for the homeless and that we did
Yeah.
donate quite a bit. But I wanted to do a little more, I didn't want
Well,
it
I
to be
mean,
out there,
I
but
like our plan of where this is going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
because what we
Being creative.
really do with the plastic bags, they go back to Walmart. We don't process them. We pick them up, like out of Branchville, where they're sitting there and people bring them in. We take them physically to Walmart.
See, and there's a
And
cost
don't-
associated with that, because I have read plastic recycling in some of the bigger cities. If you put your plastic bottles inside of a plastic sack, it goes to landfill. They don't even sort it. It just automatically is determined it's not suitable because of that plastic bag. So those are the things, however we're handling it, we need to consider that and the cost associated. I mean, any employee that has to get in a truck and put it in there and drive it to Walmart, there's a cost associated with it.
Absolutely. There's going to be, I just, I don't want people to think that everything that we take or get, we get money for. That's not the case.
Some of
Those
the
pla-
mandated products the state makes us take are losers.
That's all.
But
Yeah.
You're required.
That we have to take.
How is the shingle business still? Is it good, bad, profitable, bad, whatever?
You know, I haven't had anybody really, I don't know where they're taking their shingles because it's been hardly any, because they have to fill out paperwork and we get different information when they drop off
Third of
shingles.
Tell City got new roofs because of that hailstorm. So I mean, I know there was a lot of roofs going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, and
People with our roof on said they were taking it to Owensboro.
Were they? Okay. 'Cause I was just curious because I know I've used that before, but it's been,
it's not been
when they
used.
first had it.
I think once this year, someone has brought in shingles, probably in the last 8 months, 2, maybe 3 people have.
And maybe that's something we look at no longer providing. If it's not being utilized, I'm not required to do it, and we're not making money off it.
Yeah.
It would save us some
It's
money.
gonna be a learning process for when things are changed, what we take, what we don't take, what we have to take, what we can take. Everybody is gonna have to learn,
Like that pamphlet you brought last time.
just like this right here.
For the public.
This here, this Spencer County's recycling book, it tells you exactly what you can take. Everything.
Yeah.
It's very, very informative. I don't know, do y'all wanna look at some of this? It's kinda neat in a way.
And it's a goal, that's a goal for,
Yeah, what you
Us.
can dispose, what you can't dispose. I mean, it's.
And
it's very,
partnering with
It's very
other
interesting.
facilities, not say partnering, but in a way, if residents could take their oil to O'Reilly's, or I don't know if AutoZone takes it or not, they might, but they don't have to bring it to us. We don't have to, but you're selling it now, you're making money, so
Right,
you don't want
yeah.
to lose your oil, I shouldn't have said
Right.
that.
no, but that's, it's, because we've had people bring in car batteries.
And tires, do we get?
Yeah, we take
But Tell City
tires.
Tire, I know they'll charge you for a tire with or without a rim, it's a different price, I understand.
Right.
And I think, you get mattresses, I know we brought a ton up there from my house we bought, and I filled you all up, but
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's charges for that.
there are.
And so that's how we feel we recoup some of
And
that.
that's fine, I think, as long as we're not losing money on the other end by the time we figure in our labor and whatever, make it mark it up enough where we're not losing.
You change your cars, you charge for them, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
What is our cost for
The
tires?
minimum for a regular size is $450, and then it goes up, because we even have the price for tractor ones, so I've been able, we haven't gotten, so. But I changed it to where they have to take it to camp. Instead of, because they were sitting around, laying around Branchville too, and the
Sure.
bugs.
They gather water and then
Right,
mosquitoes
and
and
then we've got a problem.
becomes a little bit of a health
Does
concern.
rubber repair pay for itself, or is it just a loss?
It's kind of, in the end, it's kind of a loss. I mean, it's not a huge loss. It's better than them on the side of the road, so I feel like we're doing good service.
A wash
but-
is not necessarily a bad thing in some cases. A loss, no. A wash, you don't always like it, but at least it's,
Yeah, and we don't get a ton. I think it goes through phases. I've had people call me and say, I bought a house and there's 20 tires out on the land, and they're like, how much are they? And I'm like the minimum $450 each.
yeah.
So they were like, well, maybe I'll do it in batches. And then 20 tires to inherit when you buy property and you didn't
and
realize.
We need to probably talk to our local tire stores and say, how much you charge, you can be either $450 here, or they're this much if you take them here. Maybe they're glad to take it, maybe, I don't know, but it's,
Because I have an outside contractor that comes and gets them and takes them.
Randy's
You
right,
do
it's
take
gonna
it.
take a plan, find out what's profitable, not profitable, what we're required to take, and go from there in some ways, and kind of get a new budget in mind, and maybe look at that tier price. I don't know how he came up with his numbers, if he just pulled them out of the sky, or if there's facts behind it, I don't know. It's a good discussion.
Do we think that by next meeting, we can decide final how we're going to do this? I have let people know, they might be billed, I didn't know. I've left it open with, I don't know. They're looking at paying the bill for residents with money, but we don't know.
I think we have to by next meeting somehow,
Yes.
if we're gonna send the bills out or if we're not. I mean,
Can you give us waste stream and cost processing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm,
I would appreciate that before I'm asked to make any kind of decision financially.
Okay, so you want it on cardboard, glass?
Whatever you take,
Okay,
when you take it in, what's the process, what's it cost? And we can use, whatever your man hour average is and say it costs X number of man hours. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not asking for that, just add it together, come up with an average and say, to do this, it costs
Chris,
2
is that enough
hours,
time?
3
We're
hours.
gonna need to move our meeting to help you get that. That's a lot to do in 2 weeks, I know.
I was gonna say, if we have to, I was just looking at the date here, we're just really a month past what we was gonna get the money in. So if we have to postpone it to May meeting, where you can get some of this information, so we can make a good decision. I'm okay with that also, and I'm just one vote on that, so.
Yeah, I think you can get it. I know you're pretty efficient for your time, but I don't want you to feel rushed. You're making an error in your numbers either.
To be honest, I think that if we need to have our meeting in 2 weeks because I need the bills that didn't get paid and then they're to be
Yeah, we'll
paid.
have the meeting in 2 weeks, but I'm
Okay.
talking about, the decision on sending the
That would be better, and I
the
can
payment
give you what
other
I have
bill.
coming. I can do, a couple things and look at that and email you, that way you have it. I don't wanna wait till the meeting to give you that waste stream information. I think that's kind of.
It's wasting our time because you gotta
Exactly.
read it.
Yeah.
Right, so get that to you.
Wasting, right?
Are you
So-
still in the court system from last year?
What do you mean in the court system?
So the small
Are we-
claims.
Are
Small
we-
claims, no, those are done.
All of them are done from
Pretty
last
much, I
year?
would say I haven't gotten a check in a while. It should be done, but there might be people that have some payments still out. But us going back to court is done. And
Okay.
so far, we'll see about this year, but that is, we do not have to go back. That part's done.
Get what you can get by the next meeting, get it
Okay.
to us, and we'll
Yeah.
look at it.
I might just take 2 or 3 things and take that and just send it and focus on 2 or 3 things, send it to you and then look at it. If you have any questions, we can just talk about it.
And it's sort of, the commissioners and the councils to try to be, thinking down the road too, what's an option. We got all options to think about, so, funding wise, so. But I do appreciate the comments from, the citizens here, especially Chris on the agriculture side, that, that's not an option with me, so,
Me,
putting it on assessment, so.
me,
I agree.
Yeah.
It would be a challenge for some.
Yeah.
Others, it may not be bad, but for the majority, I think it would really
Well,
hurt.
after seeing what, tax bills coming in already, and, we don't wanna add any more burden to
No.
already painful
struggling
bills, so.
agriculture.
If we can get that document that you mentioned, so we'd have an idea of how much in more money we would get from the hotels, the
Yeah.
industries.
I'll try to get a hold of Charlie and see. I don't know how he got the numbers. I don't know. I'll get it and get it to you. You guys can do what you want with it.
Did Charlie sit on the advisory?
He was on this board and then he was on the advisory, so it's
That
both,
might
and
have
that's
been
why
where they worked on them, I'm not sure,
and
but I'm
that's why
just
I'm
thinking,
confused where it started.
that was kind of be what the process would have been, so.
When I started in September part-time, he had come in and talked about it. They were talking about it. He was on the advisory board and left shortly after. He was on there about 2 months. And from my understanding, he had the 3 tiers, and if there was a different amount, residents would pay a little bit less, and how they separated, and I don't know who he worked with on this. I don't know.
It wasn't formally presented, I don't think.
No,
I think
it
it was
wasn't.
just kind of a coffee talk amongst.
Yeah, he came into the office and kind of was talking to, former director about it, so.
Ken.
Yeah, Ken, I heard bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's a good idea to have it separated by that. I
Well-
don't think it's fair.
I think it'd be great to see the reduction for a lot of residents. I think they'd really, really appreciate it. I mean,
Yeah, I'd like to find a way to not charge them at all and run it through tax, but that's, might be hard to do, so.
if you can figure that out, you're doing great. I was gonna tell you.
Okay. Okay, let's just, plan on the next meeting and
Keep the meeting the same day.
25th.
We'll be here, right, again?
Yes,
Okay, because early voting's still
yes.
going on.
As
Okay.
long as early voting is on, we'll be here.
All right.
I think we've got a lot of good, we don't know where we're going yet, but this is kind of opening a lot of thoughts of.
We'll have some more information at the
Yeah.
next meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay, next is public comment, which we've had some. Anybody else got any comments in the crowd? Seeing none?
Everybody, come on.
Next scheduled meeting was the 25th of April
Yes,
at this location here, 4:00.
sir.
Anything else?
I'll make a
Meeting?
motion to adjourn.
Okay, got a motion? I'll need a second.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Wants to keep it going? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 I don't,
Thank you.
we have to sign. I need everybody's signature before you leave.